Hello, everyone. My name is Russell. This is the Fallout from Dishonor podcast. I'm recording this just as kind of an update. I did a predictions for ROH Final Battle at, I think it was on Tuesday, and a bunch of stuff has happened since then. More matches have been added the day that I dropped it, actually. And then, so I was planning on doing this anyway, and then yesterday we found out that Bandito has COVID. So he will not be at the event tomorrow, which is very unfortunate. Kind of sucks that what the last Ring of Honor pay-per-view, at least of this era, is going to be without its champion. I feel bad for the guy. I feel bad for the company. It is what it is. I kind of sort of hoped that maybe they would strip him of the belt. There's an issue with this whole situation. They have TV taped until through the whole month, and they're supposed to have a Christmas special. I don't believe the special is supposed to be live or anything. I think everything's just pre-recorded and ready to go. So here's the deal with that match. If Bandito was supposed to win this Saturday, so tomorrow, then they can't do anything. They just replace Bandito with someone, and there's no championship match. If Gresham was supposed to win, then you have to shoehorn someone in there, but then either way, you're giving away... If you had to shoehorn someone in with Jonathan Gresham, then you're giving away who's going to be winning the championship, because everything else is pre-recorded. And to be perfectly honest, I don't think Ring of Honor at this point in their life actually attracts many of the casual fans. So most of us watching would probably be able to put two and two together and figure out that Gresham was going to be able to come out on top if they shoehorn that championship in there by stripping it Bandito. So that's really unfortunate. It is what it is. But I've got what I believe is the updated card sitting in front of me. One thing I want to bring up before I get into this, a little note about the Jeff Hardy situation. A little bit more has come out since then, since I talked about this last time a few days ago. He, unfortunately, has been released. I'm going to get into that more. I still plan on doing a regular episode on Sunday, however short it might be, because I'm doing this one today. I got to do another one tomorrow, and then Sunday I have band practice, and then I have to do another one. So there's going to be a lot of content coming out. So we'll get more into that. Yesterday was my birthday, so waking up and seeing the news that Jeff Hardy had been released, there was a lot of websites just saying that they had heard this or they had heard that. I did check the WWE roster page, and it does appear that they have removed him. So, rumors or not, that is what it is. But, anyway, that is not why we're here. We'll get into that more this weekend. Why we were here, I have the Fight TV app pulled up on my cell phone. There is one thing that they haven't updated yet, and that is the main event, but the replacement match was just announced here within the last hour or two. So this is about as complete as card as I'm going to be able to record for a predictions video. If they, again, it's 1:27 Pacific Standard Time on Friday, so if they shoehorn something else in there in the next few hours, I guess watch for Twitter. I'll post a predictions about it on there, but this looks like a pretty full card. So in the order they've got it in, we've got Chelsea Green and the Hexed versus Miranda, Alizé, and the Allure. With this match, I am going to go with the Allure and Miranda. The Allure actually here recently, when Mandy lost to Willow, actually started showing some sportsmanship and adhered to the Code of Honor, which I have never seen them do. The announcers have said that they never had seen her do, or anyone in the Allure do. Mind you, that there were 3 members at one point. I don't know how true that is. Maybe there's some house shows. Maybe there's a pay-per-view someone can scold me about. But it was an interesting show of sportsmanship. Anyway, they've been around Ring of Honor a bit more than Chelsea Green and the Hex have. Not to say that they haven't been involved, but I just feel that you give this one to the people that have been around and been a little bit more loyal to your product. Dragon Lee versus Ray Horace. I'm pulling for Dragon Lee in this one, and that's my pick. I think he's the better wrestler of him and Ray Horace. I think this is weird to say because of a Ring of Honor product, but I think would make the better TV star if you put either of these two anywhere but the WWE. It just makes sense for him to win. If you put both of these guys in WWE, they're both going to flounder and fail. Anyone they put in there who has a mask, who has a lucha mask that's not named Rey Mysterio, pretty much flounders and then gets fired. I'm picking Dragon Lee on that one. I guess it kind of makes sense that Dragon Lee would take on Bandito's best friend at this point. Next, we've got Homicide, Brody King, and Tony Deppen versus Taylor Rust, Tracy Williams, and Eli Olsen. This one's a little bit difficult, and this one and the ROH TV Championship, I usually give organizations a little bit of shit for like shoehorning as many people as they possibly can into these situations. It's ROH's last pay-per-view, at least of this era, so I'm not going to give them too much shit as far as that goes. Whoever wins this, it's pretty inconsequential. I guess if Ring of Honor actually doesn't come back, all of these are pretty inconsequential. But with that said, I'm going to go Homicide, Brody King, and Tony Deppen. I just feel that they will make a little bit stronger team. I'm a big Brody King fan. I've liked Homicide for a while, and Tony Deppen has kind of won me over. That's not to say that Taylor Rust, Tracy Williams, and Eli Olsen are bad or anything, but I'm pulling for Homicide, Brody King, and Tony Deppen. The Fight Without Honor match, Shane Taylor versus Kenny King. Now, I believe I read on Twitter that this is just going to be your run-of-the-mill, no disqualification match. In this, I am definitely thinking Shane Taylor is going to win this. If this wasn't going to be Final Battle, quote-unquote, the end of an era, then maybe you have King win and you drag this out a little bit further. We've seen what's been going on. The last pay-per-view, Kenny King beat the hell out of Shane Taylor with a steel chair. They had to pull him from the mat. The 6-man tag team championship match, Shane Taylor came back out later and just fucking walloped King and made him eat the pinfall. Kenny King's display after he beat up Shane Taylor with the chair before the bell had rang and just pointed at him and said something to the effect of, "What happened?" I think he may have actually just said, "What happened?" I thought that was hilarious, but I'm definitely picking Shane Taylor for this one. The Ring of Honor Women's Championship match, Roxy versus Willow. So there's not a ton of backstory with this one, except to say that we just had the Women's Championship match tournament. Now, when it comes to these championship matches, I've had the thought, well, who do you want representing your company as your champions when you're on your way possibly out the door forever? At least this incarnation. I could talk about this a little bit more on the podcast, but I'm actually thinking that when they do come back, it's going to be more of a glorified indie situation. I don't know whether they're going to have championships or not. Some indies do, some indies don't. But regardless of all that, we haven't heard about who they may be retaining. It sounds like they're firing everyone. But in this match, I don't see any reason to take the championship off of Roxy. I really don't. You just put it on her, just have her ride out December and ride off into the sunset with it, at least as far as ROH is concerned. Unless unless they plan on bringing her back as a women's champion. The 6-man tag team championship match, Shane Taylor Promotions versus The Righteous. My last predictions, I had Shane Taylor Promotions pegged to win this. That hasn't changed. I do think it's a little unfortunate. The Righteous, Vincent, he was owed a Ring of Honor championship match from, I believe it was Best in the World, Night 2. Whatever pay-per-view it was Night 2. It was the cage match with Matt Taven when he won and took Matt Taven's title match. I don't know. Did he ever actually get that championship match? If he did, it was on a random TV episode, and I don't remember it. But that sucks. Regardless of all that, Shane Taylor Promotions is my pick for that. The ROH Tag Team Championship match, Dalton Castle, Rhett Titus, Silas Young, and Joe Henry. 2 guys here stick out in my mind. That's Dalton Castle and that's Rhett Titus. I don't see Silas Young or Joe walking out with the title. I just don't. So, getting down to Castle and Titus, I think... See, when it comes to these predictions, I can't stop thinking long-term. I just can't, which you can't really do that right now. Not with the way Ring of Honor is at the moment. But if I was thinking long-term, I would be thinking, okay, you just put the TV championship on Dalton Castle on a random TV episode. Why would you take it off of him just a few weeks later? So my gut tells me Dalton Castle. And maybe they won't stray away from that. Maybe they will just, hey, we've got our winners, we've got our storylines, we'll just go with whoever we're going to go with. I'm going to pick Dalton Castle. The ROH Pure Championship match. Now this one, I might be picking the black sheep here. Josh Woods just won the championship. Brian Johnson just entered the Pure division here in like the last month or so, maybe a little bit longer. But I am picking Brian Johnson. I think him having that belt, he's cheated to win pretty much every single Pure match I've seen him in, from grabbing the ropes to poking people in the eyes. I think there was one won by a low blow. I think his run in the Pure division so far has been hilarious. If they take the title off of Josh Woods and maybe give Brian Johnson another 1 or 2 Pure matches out the door before this hiatus, I think it could be fucking hilarious. Also, in my mind, anyone who wins any of these championships, there is a better chance of them being brought back than anyone else, too. So I've got that back in the back of my head, too. So I'm going to be picking Brian Johnson for that one. The ROH Tag Team Championships. So this, probably more than any other match, is the most difficult for me to predict. And the reason being is the OGK just won the Tag Team Championships not too long ago, and I know they're big fan favorites. There's a handful of women that are always at the ROH shows that are wearing Matt Taven's gear. They're big on them. And then there's the Briscoes, who I believe going into this are 11-time ROH Tag Team Champions and current holders of the GCW Tag Team Championships. So this one's a little bit difficult. If this is to be ROH's swan song, and it is as far as this generation or era or whatever the hell you want to call it's concerned, this incarnation, they're reimagining coming up, whatever the fuck that's supposed to mean. Hopefully they don't end up looking like NXT. The OGK and the Briscoes, this one's difficult because on one hand, I think the fans are probably going to be pulling for the OGK a little bit more, and that's what they'll want to see, and that will send the crowd home happy, even though this isn't, well, I was going to say even though this isn't going to main event, but with what's going on with the World Championship, who knows? But I am going to go with the Briscoes. I am going to stick with my pick, and I am going to go with the OGK. I love the Briscoes. I actually do want to see them win the 12-time tag team championships. I don't see it necessary. I just don't. If the Briscoes win, I definitely wouldn't be disappointed, but I think the OGK is going to take this one. So that brings us to what now they're calling the co-main event on Twitter. I didn't see on Twitter what the other main event was. Maybe as I sit here and babble and fuck around on my phone, I can figure that out. But as I'm doing that and we get into the backstory a little bit, so what's going on there is that originally this was booked to be Bandito versus Jonathan Gresham for the World Championship. Now, it was just revealed yesterday on my fucking birthday of all days. It was great to wake up to the fact that one of my longtime favorites, Jeff Hardy, had been fired from WWE, and all of a sudden the ROH World Champion has COVID and will not be able to attend what's going to end up being their final pay-per-view. So, fucking awesome. Great birthday for me. Actually, aside from stupid wrestling news and the fact that I had to work, and actually it wasn't really that bad of a work day, I had a decent birthday, so there's not a ton to complain about there. But in replacement of said match, so I guess they made a phone call, and we are getting Jonathan Gresham versus Jay Lethal. They haven't said whether or not this is going to be for the championship. I don't believe there's any indication that it would be, at least as of right now. If Bandito was supposed to win and you've got TV for the next 3 or 4 weeks, however long it is, with him as champion, you can't make this for the championship. You just can't. And then again, like I said, if Gresham was supposed to win, you have to make this for the championship. But if Gresham was supposed to win and you strip Bandito and make this a championship match, then what the hell happens? What do you do? Because at that point, it's going to be fairly fucking obvious who's going to win. But it is kind of cool that since this doesn't appear, at least at this moment, again, it's almost 2 p.m. on Friday, Pacific Standard Time. Things could change. Things have changed a lot with this pay-per-view in the last couple days. Right now, I'm sticking with Jonathan Gresham. Now, my one little caveat with that, I've been thinking about this morning since I read this. Basically, AEW is putting Jay Lethal on loan. He had said in an interview he did right after his debut that he was done with AEW. He wasn't going to be at Final Battle, and that AEW was his new home. So this is interesting, and it is kind of cool. Jay Lethal gets to come in and say goodbye. The only thing that really sucks here is we aren't getting a World Championship match. I'm going, again, I've already called this, but the reason I'm picking Gresham is I'm looking at this, on one hand, if I'm AEW and I'm loaning my guy out, do I want my guy losing? Or do I recognize the fact that this is could be their last hurrah, at least, again, this incarnation of it. I don't believe that Ring of Honor's gone forever. I just think that what we get when they come back in 4 months or whatever it is, it's March or April, they don't even really know. I think that this incarnation, it's not going to look anything like this. All that said, I am still kind of looking at this as the man leaving, putting over the man that's staying, even though neither man is really staying, because Lethal has signed a deal with AEW, and I'm not sure that Jonathan Gresham would be back because he is starting his own promotion, which is debuting in early January. So there's that too. Anyway, looking at it like that, Jonathan Gresham I'm picking as the winner. And that is pretty much it for your updated Final Battle card. One little note I did notice, Danhausen did an interview with the Wrestling Observer here a few days ago and kind of hinted at the idea that he might pop up at the event. Now, I'm not confirming anything. I don't have any sources or anything, but between that and if you look at the C2E2 schedule this weekend, CM Punk is going to be at C2E2 Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Danhausen is going to be at C2E2 on Friday and Sunday, which leaves his Saturday wide open. Where they're having the event, a plane ride, just be a few hours there and a few hours back, if that. So it's totally doable. So if Danhausen does pop up in some way, shape, or form, I'm not going to be super surprised. I'm actually going to enjoy it. That's another prediction of mine. I think Danhausen is going to be there. Obviously, he's not going to be wrestling. He's still in a boot. I heard from that interview that he is hoping to be back in action in February, which would be awesome since I have tickets to go see him at that show in Portland, the Prestige event, the Roseland 2. Which if you don't have tickets for whatever reason, you need to get tickets now because the only tickets left are standing room only. They have no seats available left. I got an email, I think yesterday, saying that they've sold over 650 tickets, so whatever standing room tickets they have, there ain't going to be many of those left either. I would be surprised if there are any tickets left by the end of this month. I really would. So if you want to go to that event in any form, you need to get tickets, and you need to get tickets now. Anyway, those are all my predictions for Ring of Honor Final Battle End of an Era 2021. My coverage of Ring of Honor is not going to stop after this. I am going to hold it out until the end of the month. I'm going to be covering their weekly TV like I always do. The podcast is going to be maybe a little bit drier than normal on Sunday just because I'm probably going to be covering mostly news stuff. It's Friday, I haven't even watched Dynamite yet. I usually, on Saturday, I usually do a cram session and watch Dynamite, Rampage, and SmackDown. Sometimes when I get off work on Friday, I'll watch Dynamite or I'll watch SmackDown, and then I'll cram the other two in there. With the ROH pay-per-view, I will try to get as caught up as I possibly can by Sunday when I make my finalize my notes. But I'm not going to cover something I didn't watch. I don't do that. But anyway, that's going to do it. If you like what you heard, if you're seeing this on YouTube, it might be on there. Like, comment, subscribe. If you're seeing it on any other platforms, if you can leave a review, 5 stars, that would be great. Subscribe on whatever platform, Stitcher, iTunes, Apple Podcast, Spotify, any other platform, Podcast Addict, Podbean, blah, 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 blah. I'm on actually too many to name. I've actually done web searches and found that I'm on podcast platforms that I had no idea I was on. I've even seen that in my analytics. I didn't even know Google Podcasts was a thing until a few months ago when I saw it in my analytics, and I'm actually not really sure how the hell I got on there. But that will do it for this predictions audio. That's the right phrase for it. And I will talk to you guys this Saturday evening after the pay-per-view is over. Peace.